you're very rare. You don't bring stars in and say, listen, we're going to need you to be a decoy. We're gonna need you to guard. And I want you to tell the audience, you write about it in your book, the battle you had with yourself to really learn a different dimension of basketball beyond just scoring.
Yeah, absolutely. I dive into, the ego, and that had a lot to do with it. When I first got to Miami, I just knew that I was going to be the leading scorer. I just knew that I was going to have my touches on the same left block at the same frequency. And on top of that, LeBron and Dwayne are going to be making plays for me. So I'll be, the benefit of their assist, and I had to learn more facets of the game. So I had to learn that, yes, there's this thing called defense that you have to get better at. It's this thing called sacrifice that you have to get used to, because in order for this team to be successful, they don't necessarily need you to be the leading scorer. So those were things that I had to get used to. But eventually I learned more about the game. And that was the best part in the whole experience for me. I feel that it made me a more well-rounded player. And just the lessons that I learned from those experiences, tremendously helped me even to this day.
It's interesting when you play with LeBron, you talk about how exhausting it is. The paparazzi, the coverage, the expectation. I mean, you in Toronto and Georgia Tech, you were a great player, and we just talked about Chris Bosh is great. But I asked you this yesterday on my podcast. I said, then you go to Miami, and for the first time in your life, you're getting criticized. It's not about scoring points. Take me and tell young athletes and people listening the first time you dealt with Chris Bosh is a bum. Chris Bosh isn't. What is that like for an athlete?
It's a crazy experience. Just like you were saying, for me, when I was in Toronto, we weren't a championship team, or every year we didn't have what it, I guess took at that national level to get that notoriety. So just by nature, people aren't intimidated, right? You're not going to beat my team, so it's okay. Once I got to Miami, to hear how people responded, in my naive nature in the beginning, I thought people would understand that team coming together, and I thought they'd be happy. I totally didn't think that, Michael Jordan got criticized, Kobe Bryant got criticized, it was crazy in the Kobe and Shaq era. It was just at the height of popularity. When that happens, criticism is going to just be a part of it. It's a part of the game. It's a part of sports. And, I say in my book, it's a tax on success. So you better get used to it, and you will have to pay for it.
Yeah. It's interesting watching LeBron in this series, and he's aged very gracefully, very much Tom Brady. He's been refined. He's been smart. But, we all know the story on Father Time. And when you had your medical condition and Dwayne Wade would miss time because he plays so hard, I think LeBron understood it. He moved out of Miami, but he understood it. He didn't lose respect for you. It's just a medical condition. You found out in a doctor's office, your career was over. Like that happens.
That was 2 years later. Yeah. It was actually 2 years after he left. Yeah.
But with AD, there's always been the knock that he's not really committed in the offseason, and now he's falling apart. And I do wonder if there's a little resentment because LeBron is so committed, Chris. Do you think there's maybe a little resentment like, AD, but you didn't come into this season in shape? I mean, LeBron pretty well. Do you think it's possible that there is that little reservoir of, come on, man, you got to commit like I do?
I think they definitely have to have a conversation. Of course, coming off, we know how hard it is coming off of a championship year, but they had the even shorter year, right? Coming out of the bubble and coming into this year. So it was even more important that everyone show up in shape and make sure they're ready to do what they needed to do. I don't know what's in the locker room, but, they definitely have to come together better as a team. I can't tell you that. And if they do get eliminated in the first round, they'll have to have some conversations. They'll have to make sure that they communicate those things. And if that's the case, talk to each other and say, okay, because Bron, he worked extremely hard. And, as a leader, sometimes it is tough if others aren't working as hard as you, and, you feel like you're just out there solo, then that's a tough thing to deal with. But in those championship opportunities, any missed season is a blown opportunity. So, hopefully, they'll figure it out, and we'll see what happens.
Chris has a new book out. It's called Letters to a Young Athlete. We saw your dynasty with 3 stars, and then Golden State had 3 stars, and now Brooklyn has 3. And they're all brilliant offensive players. So when you watch Brooklyn, can you kind of relate to, all right, whose night is it? Who's got to step back a little? I mean, when you watch Brooklyn, there's a little Miami Heat feel to it, Chris, is there not?
It is, but you know what? They play in more of the positionless era. One of the things I like about seeing them play is how much space is created on the court, and how much how much they move the ball, how unselfish they are. They really do play together. They do a great job of moving the ball, and they have 3 of the best one-on-one players in the world. So anytime they need to get a bucket, they have a very high chance of doing that. Their challenges is going to be on defense and which packages they're going to run when times get tough. I'm going to be very intrigued with this next matchup with the Bucks. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. Chris Bosh is joining us. By the way, we just get word on this. Coach K at Duke has decided to retire after this upcoming season. You played under him on Team USA.
Wow.
That's my wow. What was his I mean, every coach you've had has a gift. What was Coach K's gift to you?
He was such a motivator. He made it a great experience, competing for a gold medal with Team USA. He made you aware of the importance, and I just loved hearing him crack jokes and have a good time in the meetings before film or after practice or something like that. He did a masterful job in communicating. One of the things that I loved, that I even wrote about in my book as well. There was a story when he told me about how long my arms were on defense, and how I can contribute on defense. And I really heard that and took his message deeply. And that's how I ended up playing on that team. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to play more minutes. I got to close out a gold medal game, all from, what he told me in that moment after dinner. So, he's just one of those guys that just know basketball. He was able to bring a collective group of all-stars, pretty much, make them a team in a short amount of time. We only had like 3 years to put that thing together, and, we came out successful. But that is crazy. He's retiring. He has had a legendary storied career. He's one of the greats. By
the way, LeBron left the bench with 5 minutes to go last night. Some people push back, and my takeaway is LeBron. You write about this in your book. His commitment to stretching and treatment is insane. And I said this earlier: is I'm not going to question LeBron's commitment. Take our audience to when you play with LeBron. You're a guy that commits to your body. His level of commitment in treatment and stretching.
It was world class. Probably the only person in the world doing that. I thought I worked hard on my game, and then seeing him, I said, golly, okay. He was the reason why I would buy a new machine or massage table, or, just being forward thinking with the technology, putting in the time. He put a tremendous amount of time into just training. And this is without the basketball. I'm not even talking about the hours and hours and hours that you put in on the court. It's those extracurricular hours that you need to strengthen those little muscles and meditate and stuff like that to keep your mind pliable, to make sure you're ready to perform, so you can go out there and run a couple miles and hopefully score a few points. But I had never seen anyone from such a young age put the time in, and he definitely motivated me to make sure that I take care of my body and I do better as a player. And even now, I take those principles with me now.
Author of Letters to a Young Athlete. There's the cover right there. A forward by the great Pat Riley. You're a credit to basketball, Chris. I love you so much, and thanks for stopping by today.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me, man.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.